And here we are. It is 2024. I'm still in front of the Hancock building. Why not? And I'm still introducing Stone Soup. Hopefully we'll have announcements for features. I've approached a few people asking if they want to promote their book. A lot of books came out between last month and this month. This month is ongoing. I've seen at least one major announcement from a friend. So hopefully we'll get information on that sooner rather than later. Tonight we are featuring Robert Fleming with his new collection, White Noir. He was previously involved with another Four Feathers Press release. Four Feathers Press is the press that has printed this book, which Robert has a vested interest in. And the last time we had to work with Four Feathers Press and Robert, it was with Ellis Elliott and her feature over the summer. Or was it during the fall? Who cares? Anyway, Ellis was a fine feature, and I have her book, and I encourage you to get the White Noir book as well. I'm sure that would make Robert very happy. We're gonna go now to the open mic before we go to the feature. It's just one round a piece, two short poems or one medium longish poem, if and you can. Let's see who we can go to for the first person on the open mic. I think Ken Johnson said he was going to be prepared with poems today, so let's have him go first. We missed out on him last week.
Well, you didn't miss me. I wasn't ready. But anyway, yeah. Let's start up right now, why don't we? I don't like talking about what I wrote. If you can't tell what I'm talking about, I didn't write it good. So I don't like giving previews except to say that. Her hair is dyed blonde, at the end of 3 inches of gray from the root and clipper cut short about the ears. I've known people do that for lice. She wears a coat indoors with 2 pairs of pants and large rubber boots, needing 3 pairs of socks to soothe the winter wear of blisters. A friend offers her a small bottle. It's oil for her red December cheeks and lip balm from a kit bag made and kept in store for when they come. The friend talks of hats and gloves, if ones can be found that fit, stored in the parish coat room. I watch she doesn't try on someone's coat. And she can stay here till 1. Then she'll have a ride to the temple warm-up across from the grocery store until 4. Then, unsaid, is outside, between a dumpster and a door and a long rainy night. Jesus, I could wash her feet with my salt tears, but the rain has all-night sky and I but 2 red eyes. And I can't fix this. I can't fix this. That's called coffee hour. And you're welcome.
I like that. I like that piece a lot, Ken. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Great way to start off. So where does the Remnant Eater want us to go now? They want us to go apparently to Idaho. And hear something completely different. Let's hear from now Mr. Bill Lewis.
All right. I am so honored that I get to do this. If I haven't tortured you yet with my puppy dog, my brother's puppy dog, I am going to do it now. Here we have my hill, and I am going to sled down it, and my dog is going to torture me on the way. Woo! Woo! It's too bad I didn't have any fun. But there it is. And the dog, I skipped the dog. The dog could not catch up with me. And there we go. So I have a huge hill and plenty of room for 10-year-olds. If any of you have any spare 10-year-olds, send them out my way. Oh, and now a poem that's not so happy. A permanent ceasefire requires a permanent war. Without war, there's nothing to firings to cease. How much more killing are we going to suffer until we can find peace? Is one piece of land really so different from a million others that I would kill for it? I think not. What would I kill for then? Not much. What if a black man moved in next door? What would I do? Probably what black men did when I moved in next door. Throw a party. If it's Italians, you could bring pasta. If it's Japanese, you could bring sushi. If it's Italians, Indians, you could bring chapatis. And if it's Jews, you could bring an AK-47. But I prefer lox and bagels. War only takes angry men who think themselves so holy that they're willing to kill others for their glory. Peace requires humility and compromise, giving up some things to save others. Would I give up some land rather than to kill a man? I think so. Would you? What would you be willing to kill for it? I think it's a good question to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Up next, the Ramnator is spoiled for choice tonight, but I think we're going to go with, or rather, I think the Ramnator is going to go with Mr. John Wesick.
Hold on a second here. I gotta push the buttons.
There you
Okay,
go, button push.
here's the opening to a story called Theodicy, and we'll pick it up later on. I want you to find Jehovah, Mr. Pillbottle. The winter light from my office window deepened the shadows on Reverend Gunnar Bergman's craggy face, making him look more haggard than he would on a summer night. He was tall and thin, with hair the color of salt-stained pavement after the snow had turned to slush. Jehovah, as in Yahweh, Adonai, or the plural Elohim. His voice reminded me of the Swedish chef on the Muppets, only I wouldn't be eating any of his lingonberry pancakes, especially after he blew his nose on a soggy handkerchief. Last time anyone heard from him was 2,000 years ago. What else can you tell me? The case was colder than liquid helium in the shade on Pluto. My problem is called Theodicy. I'd read the Odyssey in high school, but kept my mouth shut. The first thing they taught in Art Stealth's private detective correspondence school is not to interrupt the witness once you got him talking. Or the problem of evil. Why does an all-powerful God let humans suffer? Reverend Bergman sneezed on my desk. How can I preach about God if I no longer think he exists? Sounds like a rotten cold. You ought to see a doctor. I would have backed my chair away as far as the next county, but the wall stopped me, so I poured a slug of rye whiskey into my coffee as a disinfectant. Read about him in here. Bergman tossed a Bible on my desk. About my fee, I said, I'll pay you a tidy sum of 100 krona a day. Bergman took out his wallet. The money wasn't even tidy enough to decontaminate my desk, but I felt sorry for the guy. Throw in expenses and we got a deal. I reached for the sanitizing cloths as Bergman left. A quick call to the Jehovah's Witnesses confirmed they hadn't seen him, so I picked up the Bible. I got as far as Adam and Eve eating the apples in Genesis and noted that Jehovah said humans had become like one of us. I concluded he had some pals who might help track him down. A church service wasn't much help either. The minister discussed Jehovah boasting to Job about after putting him through agony. I didn't know what lesson this was supposed to convey, but I decided Jehovah wasn't a nice guy. When you've been in the private eye game long as I have, you develop an instinct. Mine said sea monsters. Jehovah mentioned defeating the Leviathan, and since I'm a fan of Jaws and Creature from the Black Lagoon, I visited my favorite librarian. And I'll stop there and maybe pick it up next time. Thanks.
Thank you, John. It's always great to pick up these stories. And speaking of stories, we're gonna go now with Jan Rowe. Jan, are you ready?
Um, I've read this before this week, and I turned it in for the Black Seed Writers, the Tuesday group at the Cathedral with breakfast. This is called 311 Results. Dorchester, Massachusetts got a couple inches of snow the other day. I was waiting for the snow to stop to start shoveling. How thankful when I saw the snow being cleared. A young person from the second floor unit must be shoveling, so we elders don't have to. Surprised I was when my 77-year-old spouse walked in. He had shoveled. The next morning, the properties on either side of this owner-occupied triple-decker had not shoveled. We're between a train station and a hospital. Those shift workers need a clear path. The landlords, despite all the money made on their rentals, did not shovel. My 70-plus-year-old landlord he was little. His grandparents built this triple decker, so he knows. They got 6 units over there, getting $3,000 a month. That's $18,000. He inherited that house, has a nice house in Milton. Okay, so I called 311. You're supposed to do in the city. Soon, my landlord friend from the first floor, the owner of his place, saw a city vehicle. Take pictures of both properties and issue the owner's tickets. Thank you. Oh, thanks.
Thank you, Jan. And now let's go to lovely Rita Rusty Rose.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so delighted to be here again tonight, and Robert, especially to hear you. Robert was in Stonewall Legacy, a very important anthology that was up for a Lambda Literary Award, and I was so proud that he was in the anthology. So I'm going to read also a poem from the anthology as well. I'll read South Broom, and this was a lesbian bar on Long Island, very well-known bar, South Broom. It is Monday, 10 p.m. I sit on a black wooden stool in a lesbian bar, far away from the nuances and predictabilities of the heterosexual world. I am thinking about us when times were happier. Our passions are now quashed, but I continue to think. My thoughts keep flashing like a constant pressure upon a shutter, a long playing record stuck in a groove. They keep skipping and droning. Do you remember when? I wash down these images with cola. Some taste sugary, some are bubbly, and some sting the delicate lining of my throat. Love is oft like that, sweet when it is found, sour as when it's gone bad, bitter as when it's lost. My visions of you dissipate. The Indigo Girls blare from the jukebox. They are singing, "There is life down below me." I think about the verse as pool sticks and stools are pushed aside and couples are hurrying to the already crowded dance floor. A stone butch in a green and white striped shirt saunters towards me, gently stretching her hand in my direction. She is the reminder of why I am so proud to be the dyke that I am. She is proof love exists. Love, when it finds me, will take me home. It is Monday, 10 p.m. I sit on a black wooden stool.
Thank you so much, Rita. Around an 5,000 is spoiled for choice, but I think we're gonna go with someone we haven't seen for a little bit, and hopefully we'll have back on Stone Soup sooner rather than later. Let's welcome up the editor and publisher of the Descent anthology from Vagabond Books. Let's welcome up Mark Lipman.
Hey, thanks, Chad. Good to see you guys. Tell you what, sounds like we're just giving one tonight. So, let me go with this because this is a timely piece. I step into a land where my ancestors planted our family tree over 1,000 years ago. I have no other sand between my toes, under my feet. This is my only home. One day, though, a stranger arrived, sat down at our table, drank our wine, ate our bread, raped our women, burnt our village, then declared me illegal. The color of my skin, the language of my tongue, the God that I chose to believe in, demonized in order to justify their cruelty. The freedom that I enjoyed, my right to self-determination, gone, victim to yet another military occupation. My peace, simply a broken olive branch cut from the tree they tore down. My home, rubble beneath the tracks of their bulldozers. All I have ever had, all I've ever known, all taken from me. My blood turned into their gold, my heart broken from generations of lies and betrayals. If you cut me, do I not bleed? Crushed beneath the boots of technology by persons with no soul or body to touch, with no heart to feel, eyes blinded by hatred, ears closed to any reason, mouths shut out of fear. Comfortably tucked away in their beds while human beings die in the streets under the batons and artillery shells of a militarized police state, wrapping oneself in a flag, worse yet, a religion, while making excuses for genocide, sanctioning the murder of children. News actors continued to blame the victims, force-feeding us lies, calling us terrorists because we were born unto the land that they coveted. Who is the real enemy? The one who believes in something different than you, or the one who uses what you believe in to change who you are? There's no escaping the soul staring back in the mirror. Regardless of the shifting lines on some map, human rights have no borders.
Thank you so much, Mark. And with that, I bring it over to next on the list, Mr. Brian Franco, the Generalissimo himself.
Gracias. Let's see. I will do this short poem. Let's see. Let's do this poem instead. Upon arbitrarily running into an ex at Trader Joe's. One day, while squeezing persimmons at Trader Joe's, I espied a former lover of whom I hadn't seen in decades, of whom hadn't invaded my thoughts in decades, of whom had escaped my sleeping dreams over a decade ago, of whom broke my heart surgically by removing it with words that served as scalpel. This former lover walked over to me decades later and touched my shoulder lightly. This former lover dared look me in the eyes and said, "Hello, long time no see." This former lover said, "Should we grab a hot cup of lapsang souchong and catch up?" As if invoking my tea of choice from the past would not raise long dormant emotional keloids in my memory. I said, "Why not?" Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. See who we have next. We have a Jenny. If I don't know Jenny, the last name of Jenny, but if Jenny would be willing to read, just let me know. Jenny might not have audio connection that I can find, so we'll put a pin on Jenny for the moment, and we'll go to Patricia Kerrigan. Hi, Patricia.
Hi. New stuff for this year. A lady holds a kitten by the table. Yeah, there's no Christmas tree in this. I listened to a conversation between you and your partner. Philosophical clashes that last 10 minutes, words that disappear into air and meander outside this room. I'm used to being stared at, and my kitten doesn't care. It doesn't matter if we're uncomfortable or not. The curator's mission is to entertain and educate. She holds a PhD in art history, but she lacks the understanding behind those brushstrokes back in his Parisian flat. His secret language, expressions for loss, not for the latest trend, not for that nouveau riche patron. Hours of infinite eyes pass by, endless dissections, the reasons for color, the meaning behind my eyes, and why is my kitten looking away? Our two-dimensional world serves the public, but at night, when the lights go out and the room is empty, I become like you, leave this gilded frame, visit his self-portrait across the way. We sit on the museum's bench. He shares his glass of wine. I, my cheese, bread, and fruit. My kitten joins us, leaves another mark on the wooden bench, proof that we are more than what the eyes see. Thank you.
Thanks, Patricia. Happy New Year to you and to anyone else who I missed last week at Snow Soup. And let's see who we can grab next. I'd love to grab Mr. Richard Spizak, who was one of the first people to ask to read tonight. Sorry to put you so low down the list. It's the Ramninator's fault, not mine, but fire away.
It's okay, it's okay. I have a little something for you that I hope will amuse. Here we go. This first piece is called Pile on the Pale Pastel Pillow Parkway. Many of us use drugs from time to time in our youth. Now we use them for a very different reason. So here we go. Pile on the pale pastel pillow parkway. Pursue them gaily. Come what may, some by night, some at the very crack of day. Pretend these chemical pebbles outline the course. Some lean this way, some in reverse. There are ovals, tubular, capsules rich, dry, and powdery, dusty opes, undenied, so large they could be fried. But let's not forget the chewy ones for a different kind of switch. All that swallowing as if they were a lumpy, bumpy slipping down the gullet, not a rutted ditch. We trusty ones with these tiniest of pillows mark our path. A little weeping here amid the willows, but so much pills, such shapes enough to make you laugh by half. But at times there seem to be so many, we better track them with a graph. You should never pause the daily pill parade unless you've read all 34 clauses in tiny print laid upon the pill bottle there displayed. Even small lapses may lead to collapses. I'd elaborate, but first let me restate that chocolate muffin, you know, alas, may no longer help you grow. And we hope for, not euphoria, but a tip from Gloria, the nurse's aide. What was that she might have said? I'm still a little afraid. And as we line up the pills that were given to push back the ills, all torn and riven, ones that cause and some to cure, as fate holds our hand and seems always to lead another chore, or at least another horse-sized couple more, don't take that one too long there. You may find it too strong, where unless your surgeon would prolong the dancing girl's sarong. Take this one at bedtime, unless, of course, your pain brain runs for cover, just as if you've got another one that's worse. We'll be checking along behind, so unless you keep some of those, you'll be fine. We only hope to ease the way across the pristine, polished, well-heated, pleated desert as you sashay, guided by historic urgency, and in the very next 5-car pileup outside the emergency. Take the pill road that we show. There are pitfalls, yeah, we know. And if the pill road has some lumps, some humps, and protocapsules cut in half, just dodge the stumps. We won't wonder when we laugh when we ask you politely to cut those little tiny pink ones twice in half. Here we go.
Ah, life, live it, if only because you have to. Thank you so much, Richard. Great to have you back. Up next is an individual who not only has a book out, but I would love for them to feature it here at Snow Soup in the very near future. I think Ari knows I'm talking who I'm talking about. So let's welcome up Ari Whipple.
Oh, I guess I have to unmute now. Hi. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a feature. I do have a book out. It's called Beachfront Property. And I was trying to pull poems from it. 500 pages long. It's a year's worth of poetry in one book. It's ridiculous. So I was gonna read one of my favorite poems from it called The Turning of David. It starts with the first big bang of light of morning, day tripping day. David, I whisper under my breath, and I'm not sure if it's an affirmation or a prayer. But by then, it's too late, exploding into the wet, hot sun of day, taking off into sunflowers, cars that almost hit me, and smiley faces that greet each other, passing by, and gee, doesn't that biker look just like David? I turn my head up from the phone and see a man sitting there in his chair, going into the counseling office hours later, pumping out iron into coffee hot, my muscles sore from all the afternoon perfection, melting into the daily design ordained by Ew, David. I take off my shirt, thick with the smell of me, tumbling into the coolness of the early night shower. I need to calm it down. I need to relay it back. I need to get it together, need to break free from the doomed and dowry. But oh, I'm so sorry I can't do that, David. I whisper in the night to my phone. Is it a prayer or a hope, a lullaby or a wish, star or just a dream? Is it all as I drift into the places in the dark when all fades, when the cycle of the night begins again? Thank you.
Very nice, and we'll talk later, Ari. It's great that we have such amazing selection tonight. My only regret is that our phone participants couldn't make it. Nancy didn't answer, and Carol is out. Whoever thought someone in their 80s is still in the nightlife, staying out after 6. She's doing better than me on a Wednesday, I'll tell you. But for now, we have 2 more people. I believe it's 2 more people to come up to stage and read their works. First up, let us welcome up Rich Boucher.
Hey, Chad.
How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I hope you're. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going camera off, just because nobody needs that bullshit.
Understand.
So I wanted to share a poem that was published at the Rye Whiskey Review, and I wanted to say a word of thanks to the gentleman that runs that publication for giving my work a home. I appreciate that very much. And I'm just loading it up right now. It's taking a moment to come up here. I have it here. Sorry, it's taking longer than I
No
would
worries.
expect.
Your icon's perfect in this case.
What's that? Oh yeah, yeah. It's happens to be a favorite icon of mine because it's here we go. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm having rotten luck today, and I'm also a little under the weather, so I apologize for this. Here we are. Okay. This poem is called 4:75 p.m. in the afternoon. I got lost for all of my life for about a half an hour trying to find the city library, and found myself at the cruel intersection of St. Utah Street and Central Avenue. A hooker brunette in Salvador Dali mascara and shiny mauve hot pants glared at me in an accusingly and inviting way on the southeast corner, and the mountains behind her looked like they were gritting disgusted teeth. Diagonally across the way from her, I watched a tall, filthy brown quilt shuffle unsteadily at Jim Beam miles per hour along a chain link fence that shivered in the wind we had. Shivered in the wind we had, did that chain link fence, and so goddamn it did I. I lost the library, and I'd never even been there. Was supposed to be there for a dear friend's book release, and at this point I was already late beyond belief, and it was already 4:75 p.m. in the afternoon, and the sun was already tired of watching me and you and us, and the sun wasn't yellow anymore. There's a moment high up in the late afternoon when the sun's true color can be seen, but only by people who just died, or who are currently dying, or who are currently killing somebody else. And at 4,000 p.m. in the afternoon, the sun was already clocking out and ducking behind the hills on the horizon. And that's when horror was. That's when revulsion was truly my why. That's when the light turned green and I stopped daydreaming. And that's when the gas was pressed on by my foot. Stinking diesel smell creeping in the car through the slit where I cracked the window, like the stink of the last swallow of Bud Light in the red Solo cup on the back steps the morning after the party that began, that raged, that never ended. And that's when I spied a different hooker, a block away in some other direction. This one with dirty blonde hair and makeup so awfully smeared it looked like her face was trying to float away from her. And she was staggering down the street, arms thrust out in front of her, shaking something off her hands, maybe prayers that hurt when they touched her skin, and she was hysterically sobbing, and I came within reach of hitting the rear bumper of the tow truck in front of me because her tears interested me, but also made me feel guilty for my good fortunes, and also for noticing her body first of all. Did you know there's an angel you can pray to who watches over plastic bags full of shit caught up in chain link fences? Did you know there's an angel whose job is to listen to the prayers of people who get lost in the bad parts of cities, who suddenly find themselves being spoken to by pimps at red lights? Do you happen to know the name of the angel who records in that big black falling apart and dusty library book of life the first time each of us sees the color red? Can you get a hold of her for me? Thanks.
Thank you, Rich. Loving the work from everyone tonight. Stellar performances, all of you. And it's time to bring it home and then introduce the feature who has been listening to your words intently. And our penultimate closer for the open mic is James Van Looy. Check out his column at oddballmagazine.com. And for that matter, for anyone who might be curious, we are looking for more political current event work at Oddball Magazine if you're looking to submit. The guidelines are at oddballmagazine.com. Any inquiries that or confusion, you can inquire to me directly. But we try to publish at least one timely piece every Monday at 3:00, kind of like the head news story, so to speak. We've had a lot of amazing. We've had some acrostic poems from Mike Masterson Gibbons. We've had David Stephen and Joseph Sills. Hope I'm saying that all those names in the right proper order. Who did an amazing canto series on the Ukrainian conflict that actually steered itself into the current Palestinian crisis, and that's how he ended it. I don't know if he's going to continue it yet, but we'll find out. But we can always use more work, and if more work comes our way, then can be held one Monday a week, then so much the better. But check out oddballmagazine.com and check out this person's work every Thursday at 11 a.m. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Looy.
Thanks, Chad. So I've got a poem here. It's called Empire. The weakness of the empire, the weakness of any empire, is always its greatest strength. The success of its chosen lifestyle at the time of its assumption of imperial power, which loses its luster but slowly, while time demands change momentarily. Lost in its rear view mirror glory, the ship of state sails over the cliff. I wish I could proof the young folks against the demons of lust and greed. I wish I could help them see the status quo ain't the Nicene Creed. It's so hard when all their models can't the rich and famous deed. The purveyors of popular opinion hold dominion with the profession that we all spring from the same evil seed. And here's a song to go with it. They're not the good guys. They didn't want to do it. We didn't want them to do it. They're not the good guys. I guess we always knew it. You know, they always knew it. They were so slap happy sometimes. They seemed so rad. But there were times here, you know, they were so bad. They made us cry so. We didn't want to do it. We didn't want to do it. We need some love, that's true. Yes, we do. Indeed, we do. You know we do. Give us, give us, give us, give us what we cried for. A brand of revolution, revelation that we would die for. You know they made us love that. They made us love them. Thank you.
Thank you, James, and thank you to everyone who participated in the open mic tonight. It is now time for the feature, but hopefully, Robert, if it's not enough to just buy the book, if you want to give a place where we can donate, if you have a Venmo or a PayPal, this is a good time to let us know.
Okay.
And or at least to let us know in the comments, and we can share that. I can share that tomorrow when I post the videos and the Facebook photo post wrap.
Thank you, Chad.
And with
Would I-
that, we do have a little boilerplate to read. Tonight, you're all here to see Robert Fleming. I think all of you know that, but for those of you who might be joining us and lagging behind, here is a little primer. Mr. Robert Fleming, born in 1963, aka the Doodleman, is a visual poet born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, who emigrated to Lewes, Delaware, United States. Robert follows his mother as a visual artist and his grandfather as a poet. He explores masculinity, sexual orientation, sin, virtue, and dystopia. He is influenced by the writers Robert Frost, Dr. Seuss, and the Beats, and his digital graphics by the artists Salvador Dali and Andy Warhol. Since 2017, more than 600 of his works were published internationally in more than 200 print and online publications, art galleries, and open mic features. His books are White Noir, an Amazon bestseller, and Conway and Four, in issue 4 in Conway in the book 4 and 1 by Four Brothers Press. A founding and contributing editor of Old Scratch Press, he is a member of the Rehoboth Beach Writers Association and is the winner of the 2022 San Gabriel Valley, California Broadside and the 2021 Best of Mad Swirl Poetry. He came to us. He came to us with quite a resume, and he's been sharing ever since. And we're very happy for that, and we're very happy to give him this extra time. I have just given him screen share permission. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together 30, 40 times for Mr. Fleming.
Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming, a visual poet from Delaware. And it's so sweet to see some of my colleagues that I have published together with or created work together. Some of the people in the room that I've worked with in the past are Richard Spivak, Rich Boucher, Rusty Rose, John Wessick, Generalissimo, and Chad Parenteau, who has published some of my works in Oddball. Tonight I wanted to share my theme of finding my voice. And I'm going to start with my baby picture. I was born in 1963, June 24th, at the Royal Victoria Hospital in Montreal, and I was delivered by Dr. Wolfe. And here I am at age 4 with my mother, Sybil, and my sister, Cheryl. I was late to speak, so I pointed at what I wanted. My first word was chat, which is French for cat, which is the name I gave to my sister. My activities as a boy had nothing to do with writing or art. At age 10, I loved to swim, eat Chef Boyardee mini raviolis, collect chestnuts, and crash Hot Wheels. It was only the first time when I was about 12 years old in elementary school at Roslyn that I started doing writing and art. So on the right side of the screen is my French composition book, where I did my first word arts and flash fictions. These were my first visual poems in 1974. And they were originally written in French, and I translated them into English just about 3 years ago. On the left side, grand, c'est assez marin, méchant, intelligent, aime manger beaucoup, poisson pour traîner, baleine. Big crustacean marine, mean, intelligent, likes to eat a lot, trainable fish, whale. And my other first visual poem was Plante à fleurs, orange, comestible, vit dans la terre, bon pour manger, carotte. Flowering plant, orange, eatable, lives in the earth, good for eating, carrot. And these were written when I was about 11 years old. In high school, I remained interested in creative writing. On the far right is the picture of my high school graduation. And on the left side is a sample of a poem that I wrote when I was maybe 15 years old. Sunblind. All dreams seek you to be their dreamer. Nature borrows from your halcyon beauty. The sun follows in your shadow, and I follow the sun. When I was 17, I came to Boston and attended Brandeis University. In 1982, I took my first poetry class with Denise Levertov, and she said that the first 2 lines in Sunblind were the most memorable of any of the poem submissions to enter the class. Denise was the first teacher who ever encouraged me as a writer and made me feel that I could be a writer. One of the other activities I did to find my voice was I took 4 poets and I wrote poems in their styles. They were Dorothy Parker, Robert Frost, John Berryman, William Carlos Williams. And at the time that I wrote them, I was gay, and I took the poems that were written with a straight vibe and converted them into a gay vibe. This first one was written by Dorothy Parker, the one on the left. Razors pain you, rivers are damp, acid stains you, and drugs cause cramp. Guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live. And my translation, gay resume. Anal sex pains you, can't fight in a war. Sperm stains you, and political change a bore. Marriages aren't lawful, commitments break. Shallow men awful, you might as well be straight. And here is another one, which was written by William Carlos Williams. It's called The Red Wheelbarrow. It's a very well-known poem. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with glazed with rainwater besides the white chickens. And my translation, post-AIDS sex. So much depends upon a latex condom glazed with water-soluble lubricant rolled over your cock. So this was originally written in 1996 during the AIDS crisis, and it was the first poem that I ever had published in a national newspaper. It was published in the San Francisco Bay Area Reporter. I also followed up with the Williams translation poem, and I collaborated with a photographer where we did a visual poetry series about safe sex. And my collaborator, Jim Coker, was a photographer. So much depends upon a latex condom glazed with water-soluble lubricant rolled over your cock. And Jim's series and mine was successful, and we were offered to participate in a group show of new artists at the Artist Gallery in DC, and was written up in the Washington Post in 1997. So not only did I with text poetry, but also with visual art, try to learn from my masters by copying part of the style of the master to do it for myself. This was a series that I did last year in 2023. The left side is a silk screens done by Andy Warhol of Marilyn Monroe. And one of my series was about Ron DeSantis, which was done on the right side. Both of the series are a study in the contrast of color, where the background color is the opposite from the foreground color. In addition to the DeSantis series, I also did an Earth series and a disco ball series. Last year, I also did a series where I tried to copy Salvador Dali's persistence of memory, at least capture the surrealism style. On the right side is my surrealistic called Note Roundup at Badlands Park, South Dakota, USA. So all of these activities with trying to understand the masters of poetry and of art led me to develop my own voice, which I used in creating my book, White Noir. So White Noir is a black and white visual poetry of human birth to death and beyond. The vibe is dark with humor and ends hopefully. Why black and white? About 75% of my art and visual poetry is in color and only 25% black and white. I chose black and white to have contrast and show the reader something new. Typically, in a poetry book, the background of the page is white, but I chose the background of the page to be black. And this is because I'm an alternative writer. Another reason why I made the book black and white instead of color is that it would be cheaper for the reader to buy it. As a black and white book, White Noir is $9, but as a color book, it would have been $16. So White Noir includes some visual poetry forms which have been used before, such as a concrete poem, where the shape of the poem is the same shape as the object of the poem. This poem was also inspired by Salvador Dali's persistence of memory. The concrete object is a wristwatch. Around the exterior circle, I have all of the time zones. Inside the circle, all of the numbers of time. And then the next row is all of the parts of a watch. In the center, I took the word time and identified all the different words you can make from time, and then wrote a poem from that. Tim emits a mit from tea. Tim's ties his tie. Tim I a Tim. It's tea time for Tim. Tim ENTs. And then in White Noir, I have extended visual poetry in two ways. The first way is by forming the concrete element by using a digital graphic. This visual poem, Spatula, was inspired by Louise Gluck's poem, Witchcraft, that made me aware that an object like grass could have desire. So here we go with the visual poem. 1,000 pushes by a palm, an elbow. I will bat balls, bulldoze trees. I am spatula. And this was another extension of visual poetry. Some of the elements which are new are the background of the page is black. And this poem is a palindrome, which is a mirror. The right column reads right to left, which is the opposite of the first column. And this poem was also inspired by my interest in the Bible's Garden of Eden and Joni Mitchell's song, Woodstock. Return to the garden. Apple trees are under the sky, but need a roof. Eve needs sky. Pear trees are soiled, but need a linoleum floor. Adam needs soil. Cherry trees are an open space, but need walls. Jack needs open space. Banana trees have sap, but need blood. Jill needs sap. Move the orchard inside the house. Return all humans under the sky. And I was very surprised but pleased at the beginning of 2024 that White Noir became a bestseller in the category of conceptual art. The highest it has reached so far on January 2nd was position 34 on Amazon. And just a little about some of my next activities. Through April of this year, I will be promoting White Noir. In January, I will be submitting to the Delaware Press Association Communications Contest. March, at the Rehoboth Beach Writers Guild, my digital graphics, The Moon White to Black to White, is one of the visual prompts for Art in the AM. In April, I will feature at the Dyer Literary Series, and in November, I will be a featured reader at Four Feathers Press. And just to return to the beginning, what I invite you to do is to find your voice and use it. Thank you for letting me share my work today, and I will be putting my the access to purchase my book, White Noir, in the chat.
Put your hands together for Mr. Fleming. And I'm wondering if you have an encore of anything, if you have another one-act play that you'd want participants in. I think you would have some active participants if you so chose.
Okay, let's see.
I think the regular Robert Fleming Four Feather Press players are Bill and John. So we have the full cast tonight.
Is Jan there? I have a role which is a reporter.
Oh, Jan can do that if she's available. Here she comes.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
It's a one-act play again. And you're now officially recruited into the Four Feathers Press players, or at least that's what I'm calling you guys.
Oh, I enjoyed the last one with John and Bill.
Okay, it's coming up. So
Excellent.
in this play, we have a reporter and we have one person who impersonates each of the seven dwarfs. Who would like to impersonate the dwarfs? Bill, you want to be the dwarf?
Do I have better choices? Do I get good lines?
Nice.
I want the best lines. I want to be in front of the stage. I don't want to be dopey or anything. I want to be like Doc or something exciting, sneezy, grumpy.
You'll get to be all of Bill, you'll get to be all of the dwarfs.
Do you
Okay.
think I'm that schizophrenic? All right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you for listing them.
I'm sneezy. Yes,
Okay.
dwarves get
Oh,
syphilis
thank
all the
you
time.
for listing them.
Okay, I'm ready for this.
Okay, so the first, so I'll read the title, and then Jan will read the first one as a reporter. Snow
Okey-doke.
White and the Seven Dwarf Polygamists.
Oh, no.
Taking you live to the seven dwarfs. Sneezy, the dwarf's chair. Snow White by the day of the week. What day are you with, Snow White?
Kleenex, empty.
Doc, the seven dwarfs are with Snow White. Any health problems?
Oh, yes, the dwarfs get syphilis all the time.
Grumpy, the dwarfs were in family court. You took a paternity test. Who is the father of Snow White's baby?
Back off, that damn prince.
Bashful, you were in family court. Snow White asked for a marriage annulment. Was your marriage consummated? Bashful's face turns red. Oh, I thought
I'll read
puts
it
his
for
hand
Edna.
over his. Okay.
Bashful's face turns red, puts his hands over his crotch.
Bashful, did you take off your clothes?
Bashful sways back and forth.
Bashful, did you try older methods? Turn off the light, cut a hole in your pajamas?
Bashful runs out.
Dopey, you did not marry Snow White. The judge said you did not understand a marriage contract.
I love Snow White.
Sleepy, how many beds do you have in that cottage?
Bed 7 bunks high.
Happy. Is the dwarf house a happy house?
The dwarfs fight. The path to true happiness.
Oh, that's all from the seven dwarf polygamist. Tomorrow, Snow White. Back to the studio.
Thank you. What a great cold reading.
Very nice, and thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate that. We have one more person who wants to read tonight, and Marilee Johnson, if you want to unmute yourself. What was that squeak in my voice?
Sure, I'm glad I caught most of your, I hope it was most of your feature, Robert. That was great. And that play was so clever. So let's see, I just have some shorts. The first couple are Pancus, which is a 9-word form. Oh, were you able to hear me? Oh, okay, sorry. Had a cat. Mom said scat. That was that. Mammograms beat cancer. But can I just say, ouch? I have a Senra U. Secrets not kept. She writes on folded paper, then reads on open mics. I have some 6-word stories. He asked, I answered, no marriage. Shattered mirror, paper goodbye, prescription hope. Snake escapes zoo, avid Facebook followers. Foot chase, I want those sneakers. And I'll end with a 6-word love story, which is going to be included in Maori Literature's 6-word love stories in February. We laughed so hard, then didn't. That's all I got for you tonight. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, Marilee, and thank you to everyone, Patricia, Brigiarissimo, Rich, Mark, Ken, John, Bill, Jan, James, Rita, Peter, Greg, Bobby. Fantastic reading. Thanks to Richard, who couldn't make it be with us to the end. He had to go, but he wanted to be one of the first ones here, and he was. And thanks so much for Robert for an excellent reading. And the link to buy his book is in the chat if you want to quickly click it. If not, I will have it available as part of a link to the YouTube video. So if you missed any of this, Marilee, you'll be able to grab it tomorrow via YouTube link from 8 to 9. And plus, if you join Stone Soup Poetry, you can grab the entire raw feed from when I started recording for Facebook till now. And it can be like this every week, guys. All we need is you. This is a fantastic gathering of poets. It's so great for the it's so great to have a great turnout for the first feature of 2024. Support the poets if you can. The book is pretty cheap, under $10. That's a novelty. My book went up to 12 for some reason. I can't even control that. But I hope all of you enjoyed tonight. I hope you guys will be around next week for whenever the feature will be. We're going to do the obligatory wave as I stand from you, clearly from out in front of the Hancock Tower, which I totally am at completely. And thanks so much for Robert for doing this, and thanks and congratulations for his book release. More things are going to come for 2024. This is a year more important than ever to be active in art and to know what you're writing about and what you want to do. So this is the place to do it. We will be your testing grounds before you go out and submit to those anthologies, those publications, go to have your features or what have you. So thank you guys very much and have a great evening. We'll see you soon. Or as I like to say to sum it up, the show's over. See you next time.